Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, my dearest brothers and sisters, and welcome to this episode of Shan Ramadan with me, Dr. Mehwish Qureshi. I testify that no one is God but Allah, Al-Qawiyyul Mateen, the one with the complete power, who does not get tired, who has no partner to him. And I testify that our Prophet and Master Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and his messenger. Allah sent him with the guidance and with the definitive truth. O Allah, raise the rank of your slave and messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his Muslim relatives, and protect his nation from that which the Prophet fears for it. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this great month and blessed month of Ramadan has come. So complete this month with more acts of obedience. For the one who applies this time with acts of obedience will be successful, and the one who does not will miss out on all the great rewards. This is a month about which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that the blessed Quran came down as a guidance to the people with clear proofs and criteria between what is right and wrong. In this month, one should increase their acts of obedience, for example, by treating one's parents with kindness, displaying good manners, forgiving and showing mercy to others, and helping one another in working for the hereafter. Fasting is of great benefit to us. It teaches us to go against our nafs, our bad inclinations, and it also helps the slave to show good attributes and to stay away from what is unlawful. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us that the one who fasts the month of Ramadan in sincerity to Allah will have his sins forgiven. We should all put in extra effort and additional attention to our religious duties. We should attend the religious teachings, especially in this blessed month, in order to benefit ourselves and our families. And we shouldn't say that we've taken a portion of knowledge and then lack the motivation to attend lessons and teach others. Teaching the religious knowledge is amongst the best acts of worship today that will benefit a person in this life and the hereafter. For we all know ignorance and corruption is widespread. And the one that does not acquire the personal obligatory knowledge destroys himself and could also destroy others. Allah places love for knowledge in certain individuals, in the hearts of certain individuals, and those people continue to acquire the knowledge without being sufficed with what they have acquired. It was even narrated by the Prophet ﷺ that he said, "A believer will not be sufficed with the good that he hears, that is, the knowledge of the religion, until his final destination will be paradise." Now, a worshipper without knowledge is in great danger. He will not know whether he is praying correctly or not, whether he is giving zakat correctly or not, performing hajj correctly or not. A little amount of worship performed with knowledge is better than larger amounts performed with ignorance. The religious knowledge should be taken only from scholars to ensure protection from mistakes and distortions, and it should not be acquired through simply reading through books, as many do nowadays. My dearest brothers and sisters in Islam, take advantage of this blessed month. We ask Allah for protection and safety until the end of Ramadan, hoping for forgiveness of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ informed us that when the month of Ramadan arrives, the doors of paradise are opened and the doors of hellfire are closed. A lot of people will be forgiven during this month of Ramadan. May Allah grant us safety from hellfire and make it easy for us to fast, to wake up in the night and to perform the acts of obedience, keeping ties with family members. Now, as we mentioned, that Ramadan is the best month of the year. And in Islam, we base the calendar on the moon. So we have the Islamic lunar calendar. Now, the days in a month can be either 29 or 30 days. Okay? And the way which we know whether a month is 29 days or 30 days is by looking for the new moon after the sun has completely set in the west. We look in the western horizon, and this is after, once the sun has set on the 29th day. Okay, so we look for the new moon after sun has completely set after the 29th day. And if we see the new moon, then this means that the new month has started, and that this night is the first night of the new month, because Islamically the night comes before the day. If we don't see the new moon, for example, because it's cloudy, then this night is considered to be the 30th night, and the next night will be the first of the new month. Now, subhanallah, there are several proofs which I've mentioned previously, and I will reiterate again today with further explanation, that we need to look for the new moon and we cannot rely upon calculations, as is explicitly mentioned in several ahadith. Imam Malik and others narrated from the root of Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا تصوموا حتى تروا الهلال ولا تفطروا حتى تروه فإن غم عليكم فأكملوا العدة ثلاثين, which means do not fast unless you sight the new moon, and do not end your fasts unless you sight it. If it is cloudy, then complete the count to 30 days. Al-Bukhari, Muslim and others narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Inna ummatun ummiyah, la naktubu wa la nahsub, الشهر هكذا وهكذا, يعني مرة 29 ومرة 30. This means the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what means, indeed we are a ummah, a nation, that does not write or calculate to know the end of the month. The month is either like this or like that. That is, it's either 29 days or 30 days. And Ibn Abidin confirmed the ijma', the consensus, that calculations cannot be relied upon for determining the start of the lunar months. Now, some people claim that we should be using calculations and using astronomy, astrology, because calculations allow us to be united. But this is refuted by the fact that around 99.9% of Muslims from various backgrounds perform Hajj on the same day. But the divisions do not disappear the following day. In a Sahih hadith narrated by Muslim, it shows that the companions did not all start fasting Ramadan on the same day. Qurayb, a follower of the companions, returned to Medina from Damascus and said that he had seen the new moon in Damascus on the night of Friday, that is, the night which is before the day of Friday, and based upon this, Amir Muawiyah had ordered the people to fast. Abdullah ibn Abbas explained that because in Medina they had seen the the next night, that is the night before the day of Saturday, that they were going to continue their fast relying upon their own sighting. Now, this is despite the fact that they could have communicated using beacons of fire over long distances, or made up a day out fasting after Ramadan. Another claim, some people claim that science has advanced in such a way that we can use it to practice our religion, and therefore we can rely upon calculations to start and finish Ramadan. Look, the advancement of science can be used in certain beneficial ways, such as GPS coordinates to determine the Qibla or to broadcast religious lessons like this one, subhanallah. However, the advancement of science is not a basis for us to change the rules of the religion. We can follow the rules in the same way that the companions did 1,400 years ago, because following the rules of the religion is independent of scientific advancement. Moreover, calculations were known about since the time of the Prophet ﷺ. But in this issue, the Prophet ﷺ prohibited them from being relied upon. Hence, this rule cannot be changed regardless of how much science advances. Now, whose sighting is relied upon? Global sighting versus local sightings. Now, there is a difference in opinion amongst the scholars in this issue. In the Hanafi madhab, if the new moon is seen in the west, it can be relied upon by those in the east. And if it is seen in the east, it can be relied upon by those in the west. Ibn Abidin and others mention this. So, for example, if the new moon is seen in the UK, its viewing can be relied upon by those in Australia and vice versa. So, in the Hanafi madhab, if the new moon is seen in the west, it can be relied upon by those in the east. And if it's seen in the east, it can be relied upon by those in the west. Now, according to the Shafi'is, the Shafi'i madhab, one can only rely upon sightings from places that have a common sunrise and a common sunset as one's own location. So this is according to the Shafi'i madhab. Now, it's a communal obligation for the Muslims to look for the new moon throughout the year. In general, for the new crescent of Ramadan, the testimony of at least one trustworthy Muslim witness is required, and for all other months, 2 trustworthy Muslim witnesses are required. However, there are further details in this issue, as I will now explain. Now, the person who personally saw the new crescent of Ramadan, it is an obligation for them to fast, even if this person was an enormous sinner. However, one does not end the month of fasting just relying upon one's own sighting out of precaution in case one is mistaken. So, the one who personally saw the new crescent of Ramadan, it is a personal obligation for them to fast, even if this person was an enormous sinner. However, one does not end the month of fasting just relying upon one's own sighting out of precaution in case they made a mistake. Now, if one did not personally see the new crescent, one cannot rely upon rumors or calculations. Now, relying on others if the sky was not clear. In other words, if there is something in the sky that obscures the sighting of the new moon of Ramadan, for example, such as clouds or dust or the like, then if a single, sane, pubescent, upright, trustworthy, adil Muslim testifies before an Islamic judge that they saw the new crescent of Ramadan, regardless of whether the person testifying it is a male or a female, a free person or a slave, without it being a condition for the testifying person to use the term I testify, the testimony of such an individual suffices. Okay, the testimony of such an individual suffices. As for the ending of all months after the 29 days, including Ramadan, if the sky is unclear, then there needs to be the personal testimony of at least 2 males or 1 male plus 2 female witnesses, all of whom need to be sane, pubescent, upright, and trustworthy. So I'll mention that again. Now, if the sky was not clear, okay, if there's something in the sky that obscures the sighting of the new crescent of Ramadan, such as there being clouds, dust, or the like, then if a single, one sane, pubescent, upright, trustworthy, adil Muslim testifies before an Islamic judge that they saw the new crescent of Ramadan, regardless of whether this person testifying is a male or female, free or a slave, without it being a condition for them saying, I testify, then the testimony of such an individual suffices. As for the ending of all months after the 29 days, including Ramadan, if the sky is unclear, then there needs to be the personal testimony of at least 2 males or 1 male plus 2 female witnesses, all of whom need to be sane, pubescent, upright, and trustworthy. Now, what if the sky is clear? So previously we spoke about when the sky is unclear. Now, if the sky is clear, that is, there was nothing that obscured the sighting of the new crescent of Ramadan or other months, then here the sole testimony of one person is not accepted. It's not. There has to be a sighting by a group whose collective testimony in front of an Islamic judge results in the likelihood, غلبة الظن, that the new crescent has been seen. Now, in the absence of a reliable Islamic judge or Islamic ruler, then a trustworthy scholar can take their place and receive the testimonies and subsequently make a declaration to start or end the month of Ramadan. So, when the sky is clear, that is, there was not something that obscured the sighting of the new crescent of Ramadan or other months, then the sole testimony of one person is not accepted. There has to be the sighting by a group whose collective testimony in front of an Islamic judge results in the likelihood, غلبة الظن, that the new crescent has been seen. Now, in the absence of a reliable Islamic judge or Islamic ruler, then a trustworthy scholar can take their place and receive the testimonies and subsequently make a declaration to start or end the fasting of Ramadan. And I hope in your localities that you went out to spot the new moon of Ramadan. And if you didn't, then insha'Allah, you can spot the end of Ramadan and the beginning of Eid, insha'Allah. And I'm sure in each locality, there are groups of people who go out and do this. I know my children, subhanAllah, are filled with excitement when we go out for the moon sighting, subhanAllah. My dearest brothers and sisters, I want you to remember that we are in this blessed month, and Allah knows best if we are going to be alive till the end of this month, or if we will see this month again. With each breath, we are getting closer to our death. And these moments that pass, we can't bring them back. Subhanallah. You know, seconds become minutes, become hours, become days, become months, become years, become decades. And subhanallah, if you think back, how old are you now? It feels like it's just passed in a blink of an eyelid. Thus, with each breath, we need to be thinking about our death. Because the one who doesn't think about their death, how can they prepare for it? Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said, "Irtahalat ad-dunya wa hiya mudbirah," which means this world is coming to an end. وَارْتَحَلَتِ الْآخِرَةُ وَهِيَ مُقْبِلَةٌ, and the hereafter is coming closer. وَلِكُلِّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُمَا بَنُونَ, and both, that is the dunya and the hereafter, have their people. فَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الدُّنْيَا. So be among the people of the hereafter, and do not be among the people of this world. اليوم العمل ولا حساب وغدا الحساب ولا عمل, which means in this life one performs the deeds without being held to account, and in the hereafter one is held to account without being able to do the good deeds. Let us conclude with what, according to some scholars, is the last verse of the Quran to be revealed in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 281. وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا تُرْجَعُونَ فِيهِ إِلَى اللَّهِ ثُمَّ تُوَفَّى كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَا كَسَبَتْ وَهُمْ لَا يُظْلَمُونَ. And fear the day that you will be resurrected. Then each person will get the results of that which they acquired, and none shall be dealt with unjustly. Let us all put effort in trying to acquire paradise and do as many good deeds as we can, especially in this blessed month. And Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.